Welcome to FS19 and Sandy Bay, and I've called this video 7 reasons why FS19 is better, in inverted commas, than FS25. So there's 7 reasons, but there's probably quite a lot in FS25 that's better than FS19, let's be fair. So anyway, the first thing is hay. Now hay is very easy in FS25, and I'd like to show you what it should be like in FS19. So it's mid-spring and the grass has grown, so what I'm going to do is 2 strips of mowed grass, and I'm going to ted one strip and not ted the other, so we can see the difference between things. Okay, so this is 1/2 of the grass we've just done tedded. So it's not hay yet. It's just grass that's been turned over, and it will turn into hay, hopefully, you know, in about 12 hours or so. I mean, so there, we just saw at 6:30 our teddy grass turn into hay. We had to wait for it. It didn't happen instantly. We had to wait for it. So this now is hay, and to prove it, I will bale up some hay. Okay, I won't windrow it, and sorry it's getting so dark, but just, I need to, yes, look at that, hay. You can see bottom right, it says hay. So this is what we have to do in FS19 to get hay. We have to ted it and we have to wait for it. We just wait for it. Now let's see what happens in FS25. Okay, so here we are in FS25, and all we need to do is mow the grass. Ted the grass, and hey presto, it's hay already. It's just too easy, that's my point. It's just too easy to make hay in FS25. FS19 you had to work for things, and it's not just hay. So now we move on to Bale deterioration, and here in FS19 I have 2 hay bales. There's one over there, and I'm going to put this one in the shed here. Fine. So we can see using the handy MT9 tool that this is a 4,000 litre bale, and we'll shut the door, and we'll also see that at the moment this bale here is also a 4,000 litre bale. So let's come back tomorrow and see what's happened to those bales. Okay, I'm coming back actually 3 days later. We've had a little bit of rain, and how has it affected this bale? Yes, it's not 4,000 litres, it's 3,347 litres. It's lost quite a lot of its, you know, whatever, capacity. So, but what about the one in here? You know, it's safe and dry in here, and it's still 4,000 litres. Let's see what happens in FS25. Okay, so we have 2 bales. I'm going to put one in here. And leave one outside, and I'll see you in a few days after some rain. Okay, we've moved on 2 months, we've had some rain, and this bale out here, it was 4,500 litres and it's still 4,500 litres, and the bale in here, in the dry, is still 4,500 litres. So no deterioration of bales. So next, it's working on frozen ground, and here we are in Sandy Bay, and we need to cultivate this field, so let's see what happens. Exactly, the soil is frozen and you can't work on it. And here we are on Oak Bridge Farm in FS25, another British map. It's -4. And it's no problem. Yes, you can cultivate even at -4 degrees. Okay, I'm sure you're starting to get the gist of this now. FS19, which is this, is realistic, and FS25 is not. Well, that's not entirely the case, because there's a lot of realistic stuff in FS25, but that's not the title of the video. So you can see at the top there, there's a dewdrop just next to the cloud on the right hand side. So if we try to harvest, I'm not sure it'll let us. Yeah, it won't even let us. We can't do it when the crops are wet in FS19. So here we are in FS25, and I think that we probably can harvest. Yeah, reduces the yield. You can harvest, but there's a penalty for it. Let's just fast forward the time a little bit to when it's not raining. What will happen now if we try to harvest the crops, because clearly they're still wet? Well, not much, because these crops are withered anyway. So it's a flaw in what I'm doing here, but you get the point anyway. That you know, it doesn't. There's no penalty for harvesting wet crops in FS25, which is fairly ridiculous. Okay, so here we are back in FS19, and I'm going to buy a couple of cows because I haven't got much hay. So I think if I stand here, yes, I can buy these two of these Holsteins, because they're the queen of milk production. So yes, confirm. So we've got 2 cows and we've got 2 bales of hay, and we'll see in a couple of days if we have any milk. Okay, it's 3 days later, and sadly, one animal has died. I had a notification, one of the cows has died, which would never ever happen in FS25. Let's see their health. 26%. Now, there's no milk because, well, we know why. There's no milk because there are no babies. This is what happens in FS19. If they don't have calves, there's no milk, because there's no point in having milk if there's no calves. So that's the reality of FS19. Animals die and they don't produce milk until they have babies. Well, here we are on Oakbridge Farm, and I've given the cows some... I haven't got the cows yet, but I've given them some hay. I just need to find the point where we buy them, which is just here. And I will buy 18-month-old Holsteins, and I will buy 5 of these. Yes, fine. And I'll see you back here in 3 days. Okay, it's 3 days later. Let's go and see how our cows are doing. Here are our cows. Let's visit them actually. They are over here. So, here they are. They're 100% healthy. We have 1,339 litres of milk. Look how easy that is. It was such a struggle on FS19. It's just too easy for me. Too easy on here. So my next complaint is about drilling fields, and this is field 2 on Sandy Bay. This is FS19 obviously. So I'm going to drill this with wheat, and as you can see here, wheat we can put in the ground as long as it's 5 degrees, and you can see at the top it is 5 degrees, so we're allowed to put in wheat now. So So there's jeopardy. There's jeopardy in FS19 because wheat needs to be 5 degrees centigrade for wheat to grow, and at the moment it's 6 degrees, so that's fine. But we need to check every day, you know, if it's germinating or what's happening. So let's go back to the house and we'll skip to tomorrow and see what's going on. So you can see here on growth, planted. It's planted, but it hasn't germinated, and we might get a blue thing here of germination failed. So once again, okay, it's growing. Okay, but we could have had germination failed. You know, it's always a risk in FS19 that germination will fail, but it's growing, so that's absolutely fine. So there is more jeopardy in FS19 and FS25, most definitely. So here we are in FS25 and it all looks much posher, much more high res, and we have GPS, which is much better actually than course play, so I can't really complain about that. But there's not really any jeopardy here because look at this wheat. You know, we can't see the minimum temperature. There's a minimum temperature for wheat in FS19 which is 5 degrees, but there's no minimum temperature here. And it's warm anyway, so I mean, but there is a lot more jeopardy, I think, in FS19. So okay, so that's that. We've finished this field, and as you can see, growth is growing. And if we look on here at growth, it's growing. There's no kind of yellow state of planted, no germination failed, you know, the blue state. So everything's hunky-dory and easy. So this is why I think there should be an ultra hard mode in FS25 with all the stuff in FS19 that I've talked about today. So in summary, is FS19 better than FS25? Well, no, I don't think it is, because, you know, FS25 is all high res, GPS, all the rest of it. It looks much nicer, but there's some just really, really annoying things for me about FS25, and it's just too easy without things like the jeopardy of planting, waiting for your hay, you know, and the bales withering when they're outside, and all this sort of realistic stuff. But I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again. Please like and subscribe.